in our lives, one of the things that comes out is our personality. You know, I mean, am I having the right personality? Am I introverted? Am I extroverted? Am I copying another person's personality? What's going on here? Did I miss my personality somewhere? So the issue of personality, I mean, it's such an important matter because it impacts the way we work, it impacts the way we parent, it also impacts our marriages, impacts our self-esteem. So understanding the subject of personality at a personal level is very important. And on this edition of Spotlight, we are talking about understanding your personality, understanding my personality, because that will have a great bearing on how much you enjoy life. And we are happy to be joined by a person, a specialist, a professional, whose daily work is to help people shape their lives in a way that makes them achieve their full potential. And that is Mercy Wanjeri, who is the CEO and founder of Mind Purpose Africa. Mind Purpose Africa. She's also a psychologist by profession, and she's back here. She's been here before, and out of a lot of demand from you, she's back here again telling us about personality. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Personality.
Yes.
It's a big subject.
It's a big word.
You know, and I think that the best thing to ask also is, let's start with Mind Purpose. Mind Purpose
Yes.
Africa, because Mind Purpose is an organization that usually will deal with different kinds of people and all that. And maybe you can tell us what you're doing at Mind Purpose
Yes.
lately.
Okay. Mind Purpose is an organization that is so therapeutic. It deals with social people, interacting with people on a day-to-day basis. Be it a child, be it an adolescent, be it a woman, a man, a boy child, an old person. Recently, we have a program for all people. It's an all-rounded organization that caters for human beings. And it deals with the mind of that person. What are these people thinking about? How are they coping with their life issues? Remember, the last time I was here, we talked about stress. So even a child gets stressed. A woman, maybe a young mother, for example, gets stressed. A young adult gets stressed. So these are issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis to bring healing. Our purpose is to bring healing. I know God heals us. He heals our wounds. He heals and comforts us. But also Mind Purpose brings healing to the wounded, to people who do not know their personality, to people who are dealing with alcoholism, you know, child abuse. Maybe we're talking about divorce. We're talking about people who are going through a lot of pain, death of a loved one, for example. So our programs are so holistic and also experiential. We sit down and we talk.
Okay.
And at Mind Purpose, we talk about, we have a slogan that says, we experience this with you. And we engage, and then later we empower. So we live an empowered human being.
No, let's stay with that because it's an important area in our lives right now.
Yes.
And before we go to matters of personality, there's definitely something up with the way the young men are growing up.
Yes.
Something has just shifted. And young people, young men especially, look stranded in terms of who they are. You know, they look stranded in terms of even how to relate.
Yes.
You know, they look stranded in terms of even how to impact the community. And many young men actually, we find them even when they are older, they're in their 30s now.
Yes.
They're still stranded in the, in the streets, like in estates, still hanging around there.
Yes.
And they are now 30, leave alone when they were teenagers. But
Yes.
this issue has become one that is really a concern, right?
Yes.
Mind purpose.
Yes.
What are you doing about that?
Mind purpose has not been left behind because it's looking at where is the boy child, We are looking for the boy child.
And I think we should get another name now because even men at 30,
Yeah.
men at 35
Yes.
are just showing these signs that they are stranded.
Yes.
So I think that one of the things that we should maybe change is the boy child.
Yes.
So we can be able to encompass the entire scope of contemporary men.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Last week, we had an interview with two young men, about mentorship programs. And what came about is there are no mentors for them. Since Beijing and since the woman became empowered, there's a lot of empowerment programs that really empowered the woman. And the man was left behind. That is why we're having that shift. But I always say, not all is lost, because Mind Purpose is here with other stakeholders. I also saw our second lady, Pastor Dorcas, who also is really into the boy child initiative countrywide. So we are trying to tell the boy child to stop fearing, to face things as they are. The mentors, men mentors who are there, we are calling them out. Let them come out from their caves. Let them come out and step in for the boy child.
So you see it more as an issue of mentorship.
Yes, it is a mentorship because the young men said they are looking for networks. They can't get to the mentors. So we are asking the mentors who are higher above them to come down,
And
If it's a CEO.
Where aren't the mentors, the leaders, the senior men in the society?
Yeah.
Why aren't they coming down? Why the distance, the gap?
Yeah, exactly. This is what we're trying to fill it. Even if it's a woman who has 5 children who are men, really the woman cannot be able to mentor these men. The mother needs a man, be it an uncle, be it somebody, a neighbor, because a man needs to be shaped by another man, because they can only relate well with the issues of relationships, feelings, manhood. It's only a man to man. And so we are asking and calling upon those people who are higher than these young men to come up and have programs, even programs of conversations, like communication. A boy child cannot be able to communicate. They are freaking. Remember those days, the man is the one who was very highly aggressive. I know even today they are aggressive, but the girl is really chasing
That's a big subject because
yes.
of the confidence that
Yes.
the girls have
Yes.
gained, and
Yes.
that seems to have scared the man, and somehow it seems to now just be frozen in a way.
Yes.
But that said, before we go to personality,
Yes.
I want you to talk to parents
Yes.
who are raising boys
Yes.
right now at a family level. What do you do to bring out, let me call it now, the manhood or the man personality?
Yes.
You may call the personhood of the man.
Yeah.
To the young men they are raising.
You see, a man should be raised or is already aggressive since birth because of the testosterone hormone. So the man is somebody who is courageous by nature, is somebody who is a provider by nature, someone who can be able to fix a bulb, fix everything, fix a car, fix things. A man is a person who is really strong. And parents of today, especially fathers, if a bulb, for example, is not yet fixed nicely, the father will call an electrician or maybe somebody, a plumber, So there are no those motor skills from childhood. So you end up raising a boy like a girl. A girl cannot really go to the bulb or maybe do those hard jobs. But you find even the young boys of today, they do not have the skills to do that. The reason is because we have really outsourced things. Even at home, we have outsourced almost everything. We are living in a season whereby everything is at a click. Even food is at a click. Everything. Laundry, click. Driving, click. Everything is a click. So we miss out on the motor skills. So my plea today is, especially fathers who are listening to us today, is to engage the man in their house. In the next 20 years, in the next 10 years, the man will have grown to become a responsible citizen. Even the dressing, how are our men dressing nowadays? How is the dad dressing? Remember, we say that parents are the mirrors of their children. How the dad dresses is definitely or more or less how your son will dress. How you speak. So that mentorship needs to be so close. They should also go for football games and clubs, engage the man in your house to do gaming, talent. Remember, even nowadays, there's a lot of talent, isn't it? Yeah. Look at the future and not today. If a man is very busy, go with your children to work if it's on a Saturday. Let your son know what you do. There are parents who do not even share their jobs with their children. They don't know, they just know their father is a provider. So engage, let them know who you are. Let them see you cry, It's okay to cry because it's emotional. It's an emotional thing to cry. Because again, a man a man needs to be strong.
But Mercy, you cry before your boys. Chances are they will start saying, please don't say that, Dad will cry.
No, cry.
But I hear you on that.
Yeah.
That's quite a large conversation. But thanks for those highlights there.
Yeah.
But some men are saying it's interesting that the Beijing conference is always cited. That was held some decades ago.
Yes.
But there's a men's conference every year.
Yeah.
But it seems like it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's okay.
Yeah.
Again, shifting to something quite connected with that.
Yes.
Personality. And the value of that. Sometimes, Mercy, the word personality is an academic word by itself.
Yeah.
It comes much later in life. For instance, when the children are growing up,
Yes.
the word personality doesn't feature,
No.
You hear it much later, maybe
Yeah.
when you read and,
Yes.
and when you get to interact with, get more exposed.
Yes.
But do you feel that the matter of personality, depending on how important it is, should come a little earlier in the parenting aspect?
Yes.
Of development.
Thank you so much, Rev. I highly agree on that because currently there's a score that children are scoring. There's a test that children can be done, and research has proven that if children today, let's say 10 years and below, do this test of personality, chances are the scores will be the same as they become adults. That's the beauty of it. So nowadays, then go to research, then go to psychology. Children are able to know what is their personality. Parents are able to detect it early so that they can be able to cultivate the personality of the child and also to make amendments, if possible, to enhance the personality. In this age, I think myself, I knew my personality also when I was far much older.
What's your personality?
Myself, I'm really extroverted, highly. I normally score so high in extroversion and very low in introversion because my personality is really, I'm emotional, very. I really care. I find myself so caring, feeling for people. If I find somebody lying on the ground, maybe they don't have anything to eat, I really stop and do something about that. And I also love going out. I love helping out. I love traveling. I love visitors in my home, hosting. I dance. These are the things that I discovered that's who I am. And when I asked my mother how I was earlier, it still was like that. I was very active in Sunday school, active in memory verse, drama club. It starts early. Speaking to multitudes of people, and it doesn't really hurt.
And it's interesting, just the fact that you really know your personality.
Yes.
But I just want to ask on behalf of the viewers,
Yes.
how did you know it? How did you know that you're extroverted? And at what point? What did you do?
Yeah. Reverend, I went to school. That's when I discovered who I'm really, who is Mercy. When I went to school and I did the test, that's when I put a rubber stamp that really this is who I am. Others really scored so badly. I never thought that they can score that. But when I did the test, and the results just gets the real picture of you, because there are questions that you answer. And once the questions are over, then there's a test result. And shock on me, I really scored so high.
On extroversion?
Yes.
Now, let me ask, can you maybe find that outcome that you are extroverted and be disappointed? Like say, oh, I wish there was something else.
Yes.
Maybe you see that you're introverted and you feel, oh, I wish I was extroverted. I mean, or do you feel like I connect? Sometimes you might find the outcome of the test and say, yes, that's me.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or do you sometimes feel like, oh, I wish I was different?
I guess no, it has to, it's a blueprint. This is exactly me. I mean, there's no other way, because it's a unique characteristic. Once it's unique, it cannot be someone else's characteristic. So it is so authentic. And so when I scored that, I really was happy, because that was me. That was exactly what I was.
Okay.
And most of the time, people get same results, because that's who they are. It's really, really who they are.
All right.
Yes.
Now, sometimes we also imagine that the personality is mashed up with character. For instance,
Yes.
You think that, oh, she's extroverted, and therefore, most likely she is very, maybe, the one who is, like, connects with people, like, very easily, and therefore, in that connection, you feel that it's a person who would, I mean, you should be careful with your relationships there,
Yeah.
because maybe the character and the personality, sometimes we mash them. And can you separate that for us? Because an introvert may be seen as a person who doesn't love people. I mean, because you're staying on your own, so
Yes.
it means you hate people.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
You see, introvert, hate people. Hate is a character, is a character description.
Yes.
So can you separate these two for us?
Yeah. Okay. What happens is, if an individual is an introvert, that is who they are. And there are characteristics that come in with introverts. They are quiet. They want to be with themselves. They do routine. They follow rules. They like doing from first to finish. That's an introvert. And most of the time, extroverts tend to wonder, why should you follow routine? So there's a clash, because everybody is unique. We talked about personality is really unique. It's a unique way of living. It's a behavior that, it's a pattern. If someone is quiet, they will not be extroverted one day. That is the rhythm, that is the pattern from childhood to old age. And so characters really form a personality of a person. Because if this is continued, there's a pattern. And this pattern cannot lie, because that's who you are. And there's no difference. If a person has a character of getting into people so fast, then you are so much extroverted.
Let me ask
Yes.
Mercy again.
Yeah.
Assume that you have no access to the test, right?
Yeah.
And you're still growing up,
Yes.
right? And are there other ways in which one can be able to say, authentically, this is my personality?
Yes.
Apart from a test?
Definitely, yes. Even today, I know most of the people do not know. They've not done the test. But there is that continuous behavior that defines you. For example, punctuality. There are people who are so punctual. I mean, call a meeting. They'll be there the first ones because they really value time. And vice versa. There are people who you'll have a meeting at 9 a.m., they'll turn at 11, and once they turn, they want to just indulge immediately without even an apology. That's also a trait. That is also a character. So these things, it is a continuous thing. There are people, they are perfectionists. There are people who are so clean until now it becomes a problem. You know, you will even hear children say, if you leave that plate there on the table, you'll face it rough. If you enter with shoes, mud shoes in their house, dad will be annoyed, mom will be annoyed. If a boss finds that the emails have not been sent, that's a trait, it's a character. So we learn these things through the rhythm, through the pattern, yeah? And that's what defines the character, yeah.
All right, because I'm imagining there's so many people out there
Yeah,
who could exhibit particular patterns,
yes,
but they've not solidified that
Yeah.
to be a kind of a personality.
yes.
As we think about personalities now, I mean, what would happen, for instance, Mercy,
Yeah.
if I never know what my personality is? You know, I've grown up in life, I'm old now, but it never occurred to me what my personality was. I mean, would something bad, have I lived a bad life?
Not really, because you never know. You know, you didn't know your personality. I mean, it could be, we can say it's an accident because you didn't know it, though you lived it. But I would suggest everybody to do a personality test. Because in personality, we have the traits. And we talk about the big 5, which are openness. There are people who have an openness personality. They are open to ideas. They are open to people. I mean, they don't have anything they hide. We also have people who are conscientiousness. Those people, I mean, give them a task, they'll do it immediately. And vice versa, there are people who are so neurotic. I mean, they are ever anxious, ever. That is a personality. And it could be a mother, a father, I mean, a boss who is so neurotic. All the time they exhibit those characteristics of anxiety. Oh, we are getting late. Oh, the flight is leaving me. Oh, there are going to be thugs in our home. They are very anxious. That is a personality, which is also very negative on the other side. And there are other people who are extroverted, like the way we've said, and there are people who are so highly agreeable. You know, that's also a trait. Highly agreeable. Everything you discuss, they are just saying, okay, okay. They will not say, no, let's do this. They score high in agreeableness. And these are the people who rate others higher than themselves. So that's a trait. And that's how you know your personality without going for the test.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I'm just thinking as
Yeah.
we talk.
Yeah.
You know, these are really scientific, statements.
Yes.
You may say they are coded, they are
Yeah.
studied,
Yeah.
they are, written about. But are this, because you're talking about authenticity,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you want to say that personalities are natural, or how are they formed? How does a personality form?
Yes. Personality is formed because of the environment that, let's take a child, for example, because a child is where life starts, at childhood. So this child, the environment of the child really dictates how their personality will be in future. If a child has anxious parents, most likely the child will be anxious later in life, you know. If a child faces abuse in the home, for example, most likely the child will have a personality disorder in future. And so the environment and the behavior of the child really will talk about how they're going to be future in life. For example, if this child is well socialized, maybe a parent goes to the market with the child sees a multitude of people, everybody saying hi to them, they know how to trade, for example, then in future this child will score high in social circles. They are going to have good interactions with other people. They will have good conversations. They will not fear people. They will become bosses, and they can become musicians, or they can become pastors because they have been well socialized. If a child is locked in a room with a television or even without, chances are this child will become an introvert because they don't have anybody to talk to and they don't have social interactions. Scientifically, human beings are social beings. So that is an automatic shift.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just also thinking, now thinking scientifically,
Yes.
in terms of development,
Yes.
developmentally,
Yeah.
we know that there are progressions that happen as a young person is growing from childhood
Yeah.
all the way to adulthood. Is there a stage whereby the issue of personality is critical?
Yes. At adolescence. That is the most critical because this is the time a child is really identifying who they are. Who am I? Okay, apart from the personality that you could know it later in life, you have to know who you are very early. That is in adolescence. How do I respond to people? Who am I? Where do I come from? Yeah? What contribution do I have to the world? How is my body responding? Do I want to be like someone else, or am I authentic? Remember, we talked about authentic. How are my looks? How are my eyes? Yeah? How do I walk? That is the identity we are talking about. And once the adolescent is self-aware, they will not have any problem. And I would like to mention about security here, attachments. If a child does not attach well, when they are young, they will have a problem later. For example, if a child did not get security at a younger age, let's say a home, there's a father, there's a mother, the home is well, there's grandfather, grandmother, the aunties, the child is secure. But if this child didn't have parents, they are already insecure. What will happen to them? They'll be very anxious later in life, because they do not know what will happen at a young age. So it's really critical. So at childhood, that's what we say as a psychologist. That is where a lot of work needs to be done, a lot, to secure the child. If you discover maybe the child didn't have parents, or because nature, maybe the parents may not be there, it's good to secure the child using other mechanisms, yeah, by making sure that the child is well socialized.
Right. I know you're a Christian too.
Yeah.
And so you practice your psychological profession also from the basis that you are a spiritual person.
Yeah.
Now, just before you go for the break,
Yes.
when you read the scriptures, you find that a big emphasis is laid on values, is laid on what we often call the fruit of the Spirit, but not so much on the personalities. No, you can be able to analyze a person and say, like Peter, for instance, was really quick and all that. And that you can tell that David was also, maybe very reflective or something like that. But why is it that, what's the place of values when it comes to the personality, so that the personality on its own is fed also by the values that the scriptures teach on this other point? Maybe you can tell us about.
Yeah, from the spiritual perspective, it really, the values and the spiritual perspective affects personality. Because in the Bible, we are told, do not steal. The 10 Commandments. So if a Christian today, like me and you, we are following the Bible, definitely it also brings out the personality that these are our values and we cannot go away from them. If I find a phone, for example, here or somewhere, I'll come and tell you there's a misplaced phone because already I have a value, and because my instinct and my personality cannot allow me to take things from somebody else, definitely I'll give them out. So spiritually, it goes hand in hand. Godly values, religion, it's really there because these are the things that form personality. If we talk about the vice versa, it is the same. Yeah, people who do not have values, individuals who do not have values, then they end up in the wrong personality.
Yeah, because we have read many newspaper accounts where we are told that the person who hacked their spouse or their child to death was very quiet. Was a very quiet person,
Yeah.
And that, in fact, the neighbors say he didn't have issues with anyone. But then you're like, where did this introvert
Exactly.
get such vices that they became murderers?
Yes.
So I think that's an important link there. That personality is important.
Yeah.
But it has to be fed also with the right values for it to work
Yeah.
in a good way. We're coming back. Our viewer, we are talking about the importance of understanding our personality. And when we come back, we'll be talking about some disorders, some personality disorders. You've heard about narcissists, You've also seen sometimes how personalities impact on marriages, affect people at work, all these things. And we are seeing this is an important subject. Again, thank you for staying with us. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back.
Reverend Ambrose Nyangao, Senior Pastor of Parkland Baptist Church, inviting us for this amazing thrust in Turkana. We are calling it Multi-Destination Mission. We need missioners. Many of them will be young people, and these young people need your support. They need resources. And we are asking that many will be able to engage and come on board. We shall have a medical camp. We need medical supplies, and we need your presence in a mighty way. Your prayers will be key. Resources will be key. We want to touch this nation through this county of Turkana, and God will richly bless us as we connect.
This week on Testify.
That 5K I was vibrating so hard. I was so excited. I took my children to the hub.
You have 5,000 bob.
5,000 bob.
Oh my.
Taken my children to the hub. They have enjoyed to come and sit on the floor. The seats have gone. The seats and the carpet have gone. I hope my parents are not watching this one. The seats and the carpet have gone. I've sold everything I can sell. My gas cooker. Now I've replaced it with, those two green, the ones,
Stove.
those two kerosene ones.
Yeah.
Those ones. And I'm living in a stone house, Sharon.
Only on Hope TV. Look and live.
Viewer, welcome back. This is Spotlight, and we are talking to Mercy, who is the founder of Mind Purpose. And we're talking about the importance of personality. And just before we went for the break, we were talking about just how important that we link our values to our personality, such that we are not so personality focused that we miss out on the importance of values to feed those personalities. And just as important is how our personalities plays out at home, at work, in your self-esteem, and sometimes there are actually personality disorders. Mercy, tell us about personality sicknesses, that there can be a kind of a personality that you gain that is sick.
Yeah. Okay, everything that exceeds becomes a sickness. We have one of the greatest sickness of personality. We call it a disorder. Is narcissistic disorder.
That word is big, and
Yeah,
you hear
it
it
is.
often.
It
Yeah.
is. Narcissistic is a disorder that individuals they really want to score high in their lives. They have that self-worth. Yeah, those individuals, I mean, if it is not them, it's nobody else. And so they really rate themselves so high, and they do not like to be criticized. The answer, even if it is wrong, it is the right thing. So those are narcissistic. Okay, unfortunately, narcissistic disorder scores high in men than in women. I do not know why it is scientific. But most of the time, I'll give an example with, if it's a father, for example, or a mother who is narcissistic, they affect the children. Because, I mean, it is my way and nobody else's way. So the children become rebellious because of a narcissistic parent. Let's talk about a narcissistic wife, yeah? I mean, she does not want to be criticized, even if it's valid. You know, they do not take a no for an answer. So you see, there's not really a good pattern. The children, definitely, when they hear the daddy's car coming, and they know how daddy will wreak havoc in that home, they go to sleep. So the narcissistic people really give the environment a problem, and far much later, if they get married, the marriages struggle because of the narcissistic personalities inside there. There's also, there's so many, there's antisocial disorder also. This is a disorder. You may find somebody who is so much secluded completely. They do not want to be with other people. That is a disorder. And there is nothing wrong to be with people, but there are people who have that antisocial aspect. They will lock themselves in the house. They're good, they're nice, they're everything, but they do not want other linkages. They don't want to go to the supermarket. They do not want to go to church. They do not want to go to school. They're just having their cool time. That is a disorder also, you know. And there are so many other disorders that there's also another one called obsessive disorder. That is obsession. For example, I'll give an example here to the viewers so that they don't feel a lot of academic words. If there is a door that is not closed, so you're keeping on going to the door to check if you closed it. Yeah. They check for the door. They sleep, then they go back. They sleep. Did I close the door? That is a disorder, because all the time you're checking if the door is closed. Yeah. There's also people who are very dependent. For example, yeah, they depend with you to give them responses. Yeah. They cannot decide for themselves. That's also a disorder, because every human being is unique. And everybody is created to make their own decisions without the approval of others. But there are people who cannot move without another person. That is they're so much dependent. It is a disorder.
And you see, we do see this quite often.
Yes.
How does one help a person who seems to be suffering the kind of state that you've just described?
Yes.
If I am living with a person like that and I can observe, honestly, this is a disorder as you described it, how do I help them?
Yeah, the first thing is to go for therapy, because definitely they are not normal. That is why it's a disorder, because a normal person needs to balance. We always talk about life is about balancing, even in personalities. If an individual scores high in something and scores so low in something, then there must be a balance. You either work towards bringing your high score to accommodate other people, or you work hard using your low score to come up so that they can be a balance. So therapy is very important. These people need to go to a psychologist so that they can be told how to cope and how to relate, because the issue here is the social interactions, personalities, it is the environment, it is the values, it is the behavior.
I'm trying to imagine a situation
Yes.
where, let's say a husband is narcissistic.
Yeah.
And the wife says, please, you need to see a psychologist. You need some therapy.
Yeah.
And the husband says, it's you who needs therapy, not me.
Yeah.
It's you actually who needs therapy. Actually, this is a good opportunity for me to tell you all your faults and you need treatment. You know, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. I'm actually listening to your conversation, and I'm saying yes, that is what happens. Because nobody sees their mistakes. You see the other person's mistake. But once they come to therapy, for me, I would recommend family therapy or couple therapy. If it is a husband and wife, that is a couple therapy. So that now we can be able to see where the problem is without hurting anybody. Yeah? How do we treat this narcissistic man to realize that he is hurting his wife without knowing? Can you imagine? So actually he'll feel so sorry because he didn't know that he is narcissistic. So the first thing is therapy to bring out these traits. And then the wife also needs therapy. So it's a couple therapy for both of them. Remember, we need them to live together as husband and wife. We need them to have a blissful marriage. So therapy is good to help them cope. Yes.
You know, there are people who still feel to this day that
Yeah.
going to a psychologist means they have a mental problem. So they would accept maybe to go to another kind of intervention. But a psychologist, are you saying that my mind is not fine? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe you can help people to understand that therapy, like what you say, family therapy,
Yeah.
is pretty fine. Like it's something that we should be able to embrace as part of our solutions in life.
Yeah, definitely. This is the biggest moment of this show, because I would like to bring awareness to the viewer that mental health is a sign of strength and not a sign of weakness. Because mental health or mental illness cannot be seen. It cannot be seen. It is inside. So we can only see a person is mentally ill through their behavior. And so going for therapy, it is just like the way we go to the hospital, because we feel our behaviors are failing us, our emotions are failing us. We are getting worried all the time. What could be the problem? We are having negative energy. We wake up, you're not energetic, and yet you have everything. An individual has everything at their table, but they feel a sense of worry, They are so weak in their bodies because there are things in themselves that are not working well. So it is not a sign of weakness. It is actually a strength. And therapy helps you not only to cope with life issues, but also to relax. I mean, you're taught how to relax. You're taught how to relate.
So you're saying that just like you have a family lawyer,
Yeah.
have a family accountant,
Yeah.
have a family doctor, you should also have a family therapist.
That is definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I mean, and I hope that sinks into the viewers to know that it's a good intervention that needs to be part of our options.
Yes.
And the workplace and personality. Sometimes you hear people when people are being promoted,
Yeah.
or there are some evaluations going on. A person who, for instance, is introverted will be described as, will be scored very low and said to be antisocial, and another person, who, depending on, of course, your boss. If your boss is extroverted, they'll call you, antisocial,
Yeah.
and therefore you don't mix with others, and for that, I mean, you miss a step.
Yes.
You miss an opportunity. If you have an introverted boss, for instance, they will say you're too much everywhere. You are too, your energy is too much, and
Yes.
sometimes it looks misplaced. So for that, also you miss out on something because of these kinds of dynamics of personalities at the workplace.
Yes.
How would you talk to a worker and also a supervisor or a boss regarding personalities?
Yes. In the beginning, we talked about it's a unique pattern, that everybody has. And even at workplace, for example, the boss will notice the traits of the employee or the junior. How? Because of their character, because of the way they carry themselves. For example, if an introvert is put really out many sales or good sales. Why? Because the introvert will not be able to talk to prospective clients. And you find that even bosses miss out. Recently, by the way, a personality test is very important while hiring, because it is important to know who have you hired. Are they fit for this position? Yeah, because instead of finding it later, it is good to do a test. Most of the interviews have personality tests, so that the boss is already aware. This person is introverted. This person scored high in extroversion. This person scored high in introversion, or vice versa. That is a very good place to start with.
Okay.
Yeah. And about that question of the supervisor and even the job promotions, because someone is maybe introverted and stuff like that, I would recommend the employers to really know who their staff are, not just by output, but even by their social interactions. We talked about interactions are very important to every individual. If an employee scored low in introversion because they do not have good social skills, it is advisable to try to make that low score a bit higher so that you have a balance. We talked about balancing. If an employee is so much extroverted, we would recommend that they realize their score so that also they can control everything. We talk about moderation. Everything should be moderated.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We just want to appreciate the many viewers
Yeah.
who are responding to us. And this one says, I'm really impressed with today's talk. Be blessed.
Wow.
A lot of affirmation. And also the viewers would want to know, because you've talked a lot about the test. Finally,
Yes.
where does one get this test?
Okay. The tests are online. They can access the test. It's called an MBTI test, Myers-Briggs tests. They can find them online. Yeah. And they can do these tests at their comfort of their homes or the phone. You just Google. Everything is Google. Just Google. And if they get the tests, for example, it's good to visit a psychologist. Yeah, so that they can be able to look and interpret and see how do we harness this and how do we become aware, so that we have an equilibrium, so that we have a balance, so that we live in an interactive social world, because the world by nature is very interactive.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mercy, for
Yeah.
your insights.
Yeah.
And thank you for your work at Mind Purpose. As you continue to help and support individuals and communities, God's grace be upon you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for being on Spotlight
Yes.
tonight. Viewer, this has been Spotlight and a lot about personalities. And let's remember that whatever personality that God has given you, He's given it to you with a purpose. Now it's up to you to make sure that that personality flourishes by packing it with the right values, packing it with the right character. Good night. This has been Spotlight.